Did Wuthering Waves succeed in the way that a lot of us were expecting it to? I think that is a great question that many of you probably have, and maybe you've already been hearing a little bit about. Recently, we did get the Sensor Tower report for Wuthering Waves, and as well as the other gacha games currently in the market, and we can finally see what kind of money did Wuthering Waves bring in, and do we think it actually met expectations? Well, let's go in, let's talk about it, and as a seasoned PGR veteran, I want to give my take on it. Now, I don't want to bury the lead here for you guys because I'm sure many of you, if you have not already seen, Wuthering Waves has managed to rake in $24.8 million from a full global conglomerate. Now, again, let's remember here, this is simply just the mobile spending. So this is just iOS and Android spending, as well as we are able to track, but that is a huge amount of money that has been brought in. And now I know if we scroll up at the top here, you're going to see Honkai Star Rail bringing in 87 million and Genshin Impact bringing in 53 million. And now you may be thinking, Connor, what? That's only half of Genshin. What is happening there? We have to remember that Genshin is an absolute juggernaut in the market, and nobody was ever predicting that it was going to surpass Genshin in terms of monthly spending, at least out the gate. There was a lot of detractors still there, a lot of loyal people who were not planning on trying out and playing Wuthering Waves. But I think at least from the initial numbers we're seeing here, I think we can immediately just call that a success. Especially when we take all factors into account, this is still an incredible success. Now, something to keep in mind in terms of spending, this is only the first week of Wuthering Waves. So whereas all of these other games have managed to have a full 30 days of spending available on them, this is only a 1 week time period for Wuthering Waves. So I think we definitely could be seeing that number popped up even more if it had been given a full monthly release cycle as well. Again, this is only mobile spending, so this is not taking into account PC spending. So I'm sure the numbers are going to be even higher once PC spending has been taken into consideration. Something else this doesn't really account for is that the first banner that came out in Wuthering Waves was a male character, and we've seen based on historical data from a lot of other gacha games is that the female characters do significantly better. So I think a really good test of what we're going to see in Wuthering Waves is going to be what happens when Yin Lin releases and she has a full monthly release cycle available. I think the June report is going to be very telling on where the state of the player base is currently at. But again, I still think this game can be taken as a success when we compare it to Kuro Games' other properties, which I think gives us a more accurate representation of how the company themselves are doing. Punishing Gray Raven pulled in $2 million in the same full month time period. And while this isn't necessarily a peak banner time for the game on either side, this is still a very respectable amount of money. But on just simply the same chart, it is more than 10x the revenue that it was able to generate in that case. That is a massive success from company standards. Nobody was ever setting the bar and saying that Wuthering Waves needed to eclipse Genshin Impact to be a success. The amount is a success is dependent on the company's books, how much they've invested into the game in terms of development, and the revenue that they've been able to generate as a result of it. And from those standpoints, well, yes, we don't have accurate insight into the back end of the company books. I would still say, based on the amount we've seen so far, is amazing for a 1 week release, and I'm excited to see what kind of revenue that Wuthering Waves can pull in from the Yinlin banner as well. For those of you who are curious in terms of the split on Wuthering Waves is about 11 million on the global side and 13.8 million on the CN side, which I think is really cool to see. To me, that shows signs that the global market and the Western market is shifting in terms of its receptiveness to gacha games and being able to play them. And so it's cool to see that actually the revenue pulled in from that global side is really competing with CN as well. Now, I know this is going to account for JP, which has a little more spending in it too, but as a global player, as a Western player, it's exciting to see that because hopefully that means we continue to get more attention on our side for other future games, as well as, future projects that get released released from Wuthering Waves and Kuro Games. Now, I just want to round this video off with looking at some of the other revenue. Of course, the biggest spender for this month was Honkai Star Rail at 87 million, a drop from 109 million. I'm sure we're going to see that absolutely blow up soon with the release of Robin. Genshin Impact, I will say, had a huge drop off of what's that, 67, almost 70 million dollars, going from 120 down to 53 million. I believe that is because of Arlecchino, probably one of their biggest months ever because of Arlecchino. This Naruto mobile game is not one that I've heard a ton about or had any experience with, but interesting to see that at least on the CN side, it's pulling in 46 million. And Arknight's having a pretty crazy month. I believe they're hitting their anniversary recently with reaching 44 million, as well as Solo Leveling Arise having a pretty interesting month at 39 million, but I've heard some conflicting things about Solo Leveling Arise and where that'll be going. Of course, another game that I love, Nikke, still sitting at about 20 million, a nice consistent month for that game. I still play Nikke on the side. I just have a lot of fun with it. AFK Journey having a bit of a dip. Snowbreak Containment Zone having a massive jump from 2.7 million to 6.3 million, which is pretty wild, not gonna lie. And jumping down to the bottom of our list, we've got Love Live has come to end of service. Archland at about $10,000, and Hegan Ruthil worldwide on mobile still only making $24,000. I literally have no idea how this game is alive. I feel like it is a zombie game at this point. Again, nothing against the game. I just literally have no idea how it's financially viable at all in this case. But as I said, congratulations to Wuthering Waves for the amount of revenue that you've managed to pull in for this month. I think it's a very promising start to the game, and I'm interested to see where they're going in the future. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to drop a like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate that. I stream every Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern time. If you want to come and catch me live, you can do that at twitch.tv/ConnorsThoughts. Would love to see you there. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.